Right guys, back again. It feels like ages since I've done a video, so I'm just going to do one big massive update. I've got so much to show you. I've got a new tank, I've got some updates on this tank, and then I've got some updates on the reef habitat. So let me just show you everything I've been doing. Alright, so first things first, my new tank is a WATERBOX Frag tank, and I've got this tank purely for frags. I've got to say, when they had the 10% offer on, I couldn't refuse, because I am slowly running out of room in my current tank with all of the frags that I've got, and obviously in the state of the way things are at the moment, I've got nowhere to be really giving my frags away or selling them on or what have you. So I've got this tank just to set up, just so maybe I can hold some more, and I am actually thinking about making them available to people. So yeah, so watch this space. I've got to say, I'm well impressed with these tanks. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that it's only 16 inches tall, so it's fairly shallow. Means that my hand can, you know, go right to the bottom really easily. Dual overflow. It's got a dry area here, which is a complete mess. What I've got is I've got my battery backup here for my Ecotech MP40, so I'm going to put one MP40 on this tank, and then I've got one MP40 on the other tank, which means that the battery backup will be split between the two tanks in the event I lose power. So that's my little plan for that. As you can see, I've been doing a little bit of attempting to do a little bit of plumbing. I'm trying to be a bit clever here with the well, attempting to use less power. So I've got an Apex pump here at the back, which is my return pump, which will connect to my Apex. This is going to return water into these two manifolds there and there, if I can get it to focus, and then it's going to return water to the tank. So I'm going to run my UV sterilizer, and I've got an old recirculating high door skimmer that I'm going to pop on this tank, which was one I used to use when I kept seahorses. This whole area here is going to be full of live rock. We've got the drains here at the back, you can see, comes into here, and then it goes over these two into the two sock holders. You've got a little silencer thingamy-bob there. Because it's only going to be a frag tank, I'm hoping that I can get away with just running it on, I've got a Kalkwasser stirrer there. I might actually make something to raise this up a little bit so that it sits inside the ATO, and it's just going to give me more room. I'll probably have to fill it up quite regularly, but I have to fill up my tanks quite regularly with RO anyway. But yeah, I mean, really well built. They've got sort of extra supports inside. Really liking these tanks. It was super easy to put together. And yeah, I mean, it was delivered really quick. I actually got this from Aaron's Aquarium, so big thumbs up. He got it here super quick, so I was well impressed. Now, I've not had time to to clean the glass yet from the Red Sea, but you can see everything here is just growing insane. Like, they're just growing on top of each other, on top of each other, on top of each other. So I've got to really get in there and start fragging. I attempted to put this one at the back there, and it's on an old boa magnet, and it's just not quite strong enough, so it's kind of on the tilt a little bit. So I'm thinking I might attack it with some super glue later on in the week. A lot of these need some more fragging. I found some other corals when I was basically taking out a lot of my LPS from this tank and moving them into the reef habitat, and I found some hidden corals that have actually still got some life on them. If I can get it to focus, where are we? There we go. Let's see if I can zoom in there. So hopefully these are all gonna come back to life. I need to go in there, and I'm not actually minding the purpley star polyp things too much at the moment. They don't actually kill coral. What they tend to do is grow over any dead coral skeleton. I guess maybe they're sort of pushing their way in a little bit here, but to be fair, every time I do a water change, I just sort of pick an area and just pull out a few bits, so it's not been too horrendous. My strawberry shortcake seems to be it's going really green actually. It's got, it does have little pink mouths, but it's definitely looking more green. And then I'm not sure what this one is here, but this one's definitely looking nice and bright at the moment. These are looking amazing. I've got to say I've got a bit of a soft spot for pallies, and then I've got oh, some other, oh, they're a bit closed up at the moment where the rat is irritating them, as you can see, but they're looking really good. I need to sort out all of this stuff I've got littered in the bottom. I need to glue them on the bottom really, but I'm not really 100% happy with the way this one's, I mean, some of it I absolutely love, like this section here I think is sitting really nicely, it's doing really well, and then this section over here is, I mean, I like it. I gave it a really good sort of move around. You can see, look, where some of the skeleton here hadn't had any light from where it was at the back of the tank, and then these little dudes have grown over it. A lot of the stuff is doing, move the magnet out of the way. A lot of the stuff's doing really well, but other stuff is tending to move around. So again, I don't know where this anemone has come from. I had taken all the bubble tips out, so I must have left a bit of a foot in, because there seems to be 2 in here now. So I mean, I don't quite understand how it's got to this size in like 3 months, but there we go. And it's really bubbly as well. I mean, it is, if I can get it to really focus on it, it is really pretty. Just hoping it's not going to kill all of my other corals that I prefer. Like, I've got a bit of Superman Monty in there, and you can see it's going to start irritating it, but there we go. So yeah, still always lots of work to do. I think I need to start fragging some bits back. You can see that I've got loads of frags up here that are really starting to take off, and I've got another lot up there as well, and then I've got more in the sump, so I need more room. So now we come to the reef habitat. Now I've been putting in all of my LPS, as you can see, and they have done really well. I don't know if you can see over here, a lot of them have grown like a lot of new heads. There you go, you can see there. So some of these have really grown some new heads, but you can see I have got a massive bloom of cyanobacteria, which has just covered everything. So what I've done today is I've just given it 1 dose of ChemiClean, just I mean, it is my own fault. I actually was only doing monthly water changes on this tank, and I really think it's going to benefit from weekly water changes, because it's still such a new tank. You can see I've got quite a bit of new growth on some of these algae that I put in there, but again, they're getting a bit swamped with some of this cyanobacteria. So what I've done is I've given it 1 dose of ChemiClean, and I actually did that last night, and so you can see there's lots of little bubbles in this tank at the moment, and that's because I've turned off the UV sterilizer, and I've actually just letting the skimmer overflow back into the tank. So what that's doing is, because ChemiClean takes away a lot of the oxygen from the tank, you've got to keep it oxygenated with your skimmer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a really a good sort of 60-litre water change tomorrow, and suck out as much of this cyano as possible. So it says leave it for 48 hours and then give it a good water change, and then see if you need to repeat the process. But all in all, I mean, the light's definitely growing it. A lot of these guys here were really bleached out because they were the back of the other tank, and I didn't even know I had them in there, to be fair. So you can see some of the heads are quite small on this bright green one, but everything else seems to be doing really well. Obviously, other than the fact that it's covered in cyano, which is not ideal, it's yeah, it's thriving. I mean, it's still a really new tank, like I say, but everything on it seems to be working quite well. I might need to think about adding some more flow as well, just purely because cyano doesn't like high flow. But you don't want to add too much, because like I say, I mean, it is all moving quite well. You can see these gorgonians at the top here are really swaying about. But yeah, and plus my PO4 is still quite high in this tank as well. I've been quite feeding it quite a lot, so too much food and not enough water changes So I need to get on top of that. So that's going to be my plan this week. Alright guys, so today is Monday. What I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on. I'm going to try and do a little daily update and see how much I can get done each day. So yeah, I've got a few tasks to do. Like I've got to get this tank full and ready. Yeah, so I better crack on. So like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to come back with another video tomorrow.